In this video clip, what we're looking at is multiplying by decimals. So we'll be multiplying whole numbers by decimals, but also decimals by decimals, and seeing how we work that one through. Okay, so I've got 4 examples for you, and again, you can make up any of these questions on your calculator and check them out and make sure that you can do them as a non-calculator exercise. Right, so let's get started on this. So what we have is we've got 6 times 0.5, or 0.5 times 6, or it's like a half of 6, which would work out to be 3. Okay, so there's different ways to look at this type of question, but for this one here, the way I'm going to do it is I'm just going to forget about the decimals, and first of all, I'm going to multiply 6 times 5. So 6 times 5 is equal to 30. Okay, I'm then going to look into the question and see how many decimal places there are. Well, the decimal's sitting there, so there's no places in the decimal there. I've got one place that's here, so what I'm going to do in my final answer, I'm going to move the decimal point 1 place from here to there. Okay, so that's where my decimal's going to be. So my answer there is just going to be 3 or 3.0 it could be. Okay, so that's just as simple as that we're going to go for. Right, we're going to look at the next question. And what we have is a decimal multiplying by a decimal. Right, I've got 4.2 times 0.6. Okay. Again, what I'm going to do, I'm going to forget about the decimal points at this moment in time. And what I'll do is I'll just do a piece of work here. So I've got 42 times 6. And I'm just going to multiply this out without having the decimals involved. So 6 times 2 is going to give me 12. Carry 1. 6 times the 4 is going to give me 24, plus 1 is going to be 25. Okay, so 252. Well, that's not going to be my answer because I've got some decimals to think about. My original question was really 4.2 and it was 0.6 I was multiplying by. So I'm thinking about how many places am I going to have to move my answer. There's 1. There's 2, so there's 2 places within the question, so I'm going to move the decimal point 2 places. So 1, 2 places, my decimal point's going to appear in there. So that's 2.52. So if you've looked at my multiplication, other multiplication video, the long multiplication video, you could check that out and see some of the different ways that we've done multiplication. What I could do is I could use this one here to try to do the line method. So the first thing I'm going to draw down is the 4 and the 2 in lines. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, and 2, make a gap, and then 2 there. So that number there is 42, okay? Then what I've got is I've got 0 and 6, so I'm not going to have any lines here, but what I'll have is I'll have 6 lines here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one more is 6. Okay, so that is the 6. So I've got a 0 here, 0.6, and I've got 4.2 that's sitting there. Now, if you look back at the video, the way that we gathered things up for this one, just going to gather the line intersections here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's a 2 here, and I'm going to carry a 1 into this area here. And when I work out how many crossovers there are here, none, okay? And in here, if I counted them, I'd get to 24, because I know 6 times 4 is 24. Add 1 on, that's 25, so I'll put a 5 there, and I'll carry 2 over to here. I've not got any intersections there, so that 2 will just come over here. And remember, we're going to think about the decimal places in the question. So there's 1 place, 2 places, so I'm going to move my decimal point 2 places, so there's my answer there. Okay, just using some of the other methods that I've already shown you. Okay, let's go for question 3. Right then, so question 3 here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the traditional way of doing that. So what we'll do is I'll work out 2, 9, 1, 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply that by 13. Or it's going to look like I'm multiplying it by 13, but I'm really going to be multiplying it by 1.3, but we'll be able to see that. Okay, so 3 times 2 is going to give me 6. 3 times 1 is going to give me 3. 3 times 9 is 27. 2 over there. 3 times 2 is 6. 7, 8. That's me just multiplied the top line by 3. I'm now going to multiply by the bottom line, which is this 1 here is really a 10 in 13. So I'm going to put a 0 here first, and then I'll multiply by 1. So that will be 2, 1, and that's going to be 9, and that 1 times 2 is just 2. Then all I'm going to do is going to add these up. So it's going to be 6, 5, 8, 7, carrying 1, and that's going to be 3. There, so 3, 7, 8, 5, 6. Not my final answer, because remember I've got some decimal places to consider here. So remember I had a decimal place there, a decimal point there and there. The number of places in the question, there's 1, there's 2. So all I'm going to do is move my decimal point 2 places, and there's my final answer there. So 378.56. Let's now look at one of the other methods to use. Okay, so let's draw a box. So I'm going to have 4 boxes going along the way this way. So along the way, 4 boxes. And down the way, I'm just going to have 2 boxes there. Okay, so I'll split that in half, and split it there, and split it there. Okay, and the numbers I've got 2, 9, 1, 2, and down here I've got 1 and 3. I'll just put my decimal points in between the digits. They're important to me. But that won't come into play until we do the final answer. With this question here, I'm going to do the diagonal lines across this way. So it's just a different way of multiplying it out. And let's go ahead and do that. So remember, it's 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. 0, 1. 1 times 9 is 0, 9. 1 times 2 is 2, so that's 0 and 2. 3 times 2 is 6, so 0, 6. 3 times 1 is 3, 0, 3. 3 times 9 is 27, so I've got a 2 there and a 7 there. And then 3 times 2 is 6, so there's 0 and 6. All I'm going to do now is to add things up. And remember, I add them up diagonally when I use this method. So that's going to be a 6 there, because that's the only one in the box. That's going to be a 5 when I add the 2 and the 3 together into this column here. So it's 0, 1, 0 and 7, so that's going to give me 8. I've got 9, 2 and 6, so that's going to give me 17. So there's a 7, but I've got a carryover, so I'm going to carry it into this box here. I've got 0, 2, 0, 1, so that's going to give me 3, and a 0 up there, so I don't have anything to put in there. I'm going to consider my decimal places, so I've got 1 decimal place there, 1 there, so I'm going to move my answer decimal point 2 places to the left, and that gives me my final answer. And these answers here are the same. Okay, just a different method to multiply things out if you're going to use it with some decimals. Final question. Okay, so 0.768 times 2.4. Right, so traditional method first of all. So what we'll go for is, I'll just write the number out in full, 0.768. I'm going to multiply that by 2.4. Okay. So remember, in this kind of thing, you've really been taught to line up decimals. You don't line the decimals up when we're trying to multiply out in this way here. We're just forgetting about the decimals in the middle section, and I've left 2 spaces for some working. You consider the decimals in the final answer. Right, so 4 times 8 goes 32. Carry the 3 over to there. 4 times 6 is 24. That'll give me 27. 4 times 7 gives me 28, 29, 30. So that's a 0 there and a 3 there. Okay, so that's me multiplied the top line by the 4 that's there. I'm now going to multiply by the 2. So I'm considering that as 24, so that's like a 20. So I'll put a 0 there and multiply it throughout by 2. 2 times 8 is 16. I'll carry 1 down there. 2 times 6 is 12, with 1 is 13. 2 times 7 is 14, with 1 is 15, and I've nowhere to carry it to, so I'll put it in there. I'm going to add that together. should give me 2, that's 13, that will be 4, that will be 8, and that will be 1. So 1, 8, 4, 3, 2. I'm going to consider how many decimal places there are in my question. So there's 1 of them. So I can go 1 place there, 2 places, 3 places, 4 places. So I'm going to have to move my decimal point 4 places in that direction, and my decimal point starting at the end here. So 4 places, 1, 2, 3, 4. Decimal point appears there. So there's my final answer. Let's look at a different method of working this out, and we'll just use the different box method that we've looked at in the other video. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the numbers. Let's see, I'm going to consider that 768. So there we go. 3 numbers and 2 numbers down this way. So there's 24 and there's 768. So 768 I've just put in, and that's 24 down that way. And what we'll do is just multiply this all up. And where the numbers meet is where the answer is going to go. 8 times 2 is going to be 16. Here's 16. 8 times 4 is 32. 2 times 6 is 12. I've got a 0 there, so I'll put another 0 in. I'll go up here. 2 times 7 is 14, and I've got 2 zeros. And I'm going to check back here because that was 20 there. That should have been 24. And I'm going to go back and look at some of these numbers because I can see I've got 3 zeros there. I've got 2 times 6 is 12. I've got 1 0 there, 1 0 there, so there we go. I've got 2 times 8 is 16. I've got a 0 there, so I'll put a 0 in there. Okay, so I'm glad I backtracked on that one. 4 times the 6 is 24, and a 0 in there. And 4 times 7 is 28, and I've got 2 zeros that are there, so 2 zeros there. What I'll do is I'll add these all up together and gather them up. Okay, so I've got 1, 4, 0, 0, 0. I'll go for the next biggest number, so let's go for the 2, 8. 0, 0. Go for the 12. 0, 0. I'll go for the 2, 4, 0. Go for the 160 and the 32. Just add all of these up, and that should come to the same answer. Right, the last number, I've just got 2's to add up. And remember, I've got to line these up correctly. If you've got square paper, it will make it a bit easier for you. There I've got 10, and 3 is going to be 13. So there's 13. Here I've got 8, that's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I'll put a 4 here, and I'll carry a 1 into this column here. I've got 4, 2, which is 6, 7, 8. There's an 8 there, nothing to carry, and then just a 1 that's going to come down to here. That's all I've got. So numbers look the same, and then all I'm going to do is look back to the question. I've got 1 place here, 1 place there, 1 place there, 1 place there. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 places to move it. 1, 2, 3, 4 places, boink, and there it goes. Okay, and the answers are the same. Okay, so that's a quick video clip on how to multiply decimals by decimals or whole numbers by decimals, and hopefully this has helped you out to understand how to do that. Good luck.